commencement of the operations of the Bus Rapid Transit BRT from Mile-12 to Ikorodu is sooner than later. But the one factor standing between the newly upgraded, rehabilitated and expanded road and a pleasant transportation experience for you is the current abuse still prevalent on that corridor.
Pedestrians ignore the provided footbridges, preferring to cross the road. Commercial transport operators, especially downfall drivers, stop at every point to pick and drop passengers, causing traffic tailbacks. Private vehicles park on the road and sometimes drive in the opposite direction. And the traders have remained adamant, selling on the sides of the road instead of shifting base to the provided markets.
And all this must stop immediately. Not only does it kill the dream of easing your transport experience on that strip, it endangers lives and property.
We will visit that corridor shortly, but first we'll take the news highlights. I'm Obafemi Craig.
I am Kate Harmony.
Welcome and thanks for joining us on the news highlights on LAMATA FR. In spite of commendation by the motoring public for a job well done on the reconstruction of the Mile-12 to Ikorodu stretch of Ikorodu Road, motorists are now complaining about the challenge posed to smooth commute on the road due to the activities of the yellow buses operators, Mile-12 market, and those patronizing the markets. Road users from Ikorodu now spend more than 1 hour to commute between Ikorodu and Mile-12, a distance of about 13.5 kilometers, which shouldn't take more than 20 minutes to travel. Motorists said the challenge they face on the road is between Mile-12 and K2, where the yellow bus drivers always go against the Lagos State traffic law and the BRT regulations which preclude them from picking passengers on the main carriageway. They also spoke about the upsurge in the operation of commercial motorcyclists who ordinarily should not be found along the road. They appealed to Governor Akiwumi Ambode to urgently find a lasting solution to the challenges posed to movement of people, adding that the huge sum spent to upgrade the road and install BRT lanes in the middle will be lost. Lately, traffic congestion between Mile-12 to Ikorodu has reached an all-time high, with commuters spending between 2 to 3 hours to commute the 13.5 kilometer distance. More buses for the operation of the Ikorodu to Mile-12, Mile-12 to CMS Bus Rapid Transit Corridor arrived last week, as commuter services are expected to go live in October. About 434 buses are expected to be deployed for the new BRT corridor. They are expected to move more than 400,000 passengers daily. Meanwhile, pre-operation tests of the buses will commence soon. This is to ensure that the bus drivers are familiar with the use of the BRT lanes, especially in areas where there is interaction between the buses and other vehicles. Pre-operation checks are already being carried out on the buses, while the corridor is being cleared of all impediments. The Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, LAMATA, has appealed to all those selling by the roadside to vacate their positions to avoid being arrested by enforcement officials. And that ends the news highlights.
Basically, what LAMATA does is to coordinate public transportation in Lagos State, and we came up with a transport master plan.
Developed together with the World Bank, the objective of this plan is finding long-lasting solutions for the problem of transportation in Lagos. Currently under its first steps of development, the plan has already proven itself a big success, dramatically increasing the connectivity in a city in continuous expansion and enjoying an unparalleled demographic and economic growth.
Our responsibility is to ensure that we provide the necessary infrastructure to meet the growth, to improve the quality of life, to improve the standard of living, and to make Lagos a vibrant and livable city in years to come.
LAMATA, keeping Lagos moving.
Lagos State is about to experience another revolution with the imminent commencement of operations of the Bus Rapid Transit BRT extension from Mile-12 to Ikorodu. But there is a threat to that dream.
Mechanics use the road as workshop to fix damaged vehicles. and several motorists park on the road to patronize the traders and hawkers who are illegally settled on its side.
These activities can cause damage to these roads.
Make an eyesore out of its beautiful features, cause traffic jams, bottlenecks, and of course congestions.
And worse, these are a perfect recipe for disasters like loss of life and damage to properties. The Lagos State government cannot take this. That's why Mr. Olajide Oduyoye, Deputy Director, Transport Safety, visited the corridor to address these concerns. And he's also right here with us in the studio. It's good to have you again.
It's good for me to be here.
And after a long time.
It's never too long, but I'm here now.
Okay, so a lot of abuse is being perpetrated on this corridor after all the expansion, rehabilitation work has been done. What are these?
Well, I mean, both yourself and Mr. Craig have mentioned some of them, but I would highlight what they are.
Okay.
The first one that comes to mind is the obstructive parking on the corridor. And there's parking on the highway, on the carriageway itself, and there's parking on the footway. Now, the parking on the footway prevents pedestrians from walking on the footway, and then they're forced on the carriageway. Okay. And then along the corridor, even though there is no formal parking situation in terms of where they can or cannot park, but it is obvious that it's a true way, and when you leave vehicles on the carriageway that is only 2 lanes, and you leave it for a long term, then that's an issue. So there's a long-term parking on the carriageway. There are short-term parking on the carriageway around the Owode Oniri, where there are market activities, and then there are parking on the carriageway. You also have people selling on the footways and around the Ikorodu roundabout at Ogolonto and at Agric junctions.
Exactly, yeah.
The selling activities creates obstruction. It is enormous, it is big, it is not acceptable, but it is big, and it's obstructing the traffic flow. You also have banned motorcycle operation, using the BRT lane, even though the BRT system has not started officially, but they're abusing it and picking up passengers. They shouldn't be on the corridor. You also have what I would call people putting their wares along the corridor. That in itself is an obstruction. So those are the things that are affecting what the road is meant for in terms of infrastructure abuse.
Now, talking about the Owode Oniri sector, which you just mentioned, we see a lot of vehicles parked on the BRT lanes, to an extent that some have even turned the BRT lanes to their workshop, ostensibly because the BRT operation has not commenced, they would rather say. But is that right?
No, it certainly cannot be right. And it's a bit sad for one to say that it is not when the road is officially opened by personnel or by, for example, the governor. That is when the road is operational. The fact that the road is opened to normal traffic means the road should be used the way it should be. And so that activity, mostly by those from Owode Market, using the BRT lane to repair their vehicles, even to load and unload, is totally unacceptable. Another thing that concerns me is that we tend to do things to cause issues for ourselves, and then we expect the government to also want to spend more money to enforce the things that we perhaps could have prevented in the first place. Why are we always saying enforcement, enforcement, enforcement? We are all Nigerians. We all want good things. We all should appreciate what the state government is doing. Exactly. Why are we now using our own personal issues to go there to want to spoil it? And then we want somebody else to come with koboko or even guns or even stick, when it's not as if like we're from one environment that is not our own, before we now do the right thing. I feel we need to address this issue amongst ourselves.
What are the effects of all these activities on the pavement?
Well, the effect is the road is built to last for so long. And every damage or every activity that we do that negates the purpose and usage of that road would have economic effects downwards to us. Because if the road is damaged and the road surface is not okay because we've gone there to go and park or to repair vehicles, more than likely crashes would occur. When crashes occur, we know what happens. There are medical bills. There are side effects to properties. There could be loss of life from all such things. Even mere oil being on the road can create a skidding effect, and then a crash would happen.
That's right.
All right? And along the line, the government will still have to pick up the bill. Now, to pay the bills, somebody has to pay for it. That can only come from our tax. That's number one. Another thing is, if there's an accident, who knows who is involved? If we do anything, I'm not even talking about the economic terms now. Any obstruction to traffic flow has economic value. Because if I cannot get to a meeting in time, if I cannot get to work in time, all these things are negative factors.
Along the corridor, walkways have been created. But rather than see humans walking on the walkways, what we see are cars parked there. Is this the standard?
No, there should never, ever be. In fact, it is such an abuse that I feel it is wickedness. Because if you're already driving your own car, you're already comfortable, okay? You're in the comfort of your own car. And then you park your vehicle on the walkway. So I'm walking along, I cannot afford a car. But I do not want a car coming from behind to come and hit me or to hit my child. I am already vulnerable. And then you prevent me from parking on the footway, which means you're forcing me onto the carriageway for me to walk. To me, that is an act of wickedness. People may choose to argue with me on that, but that is what it is.
Okay, let's talk about people that that sell without shops. How do we reverse this? Because it's not just a safety issue, it causes traffic.
Well, I have applied the route as many times as probably you have done as well. And that activity is very serious. And in fact, it's a big safety issue.
Yeah.
Because you have these guys, young people, even older people, darting between cars to display or to throw their market in your face. And some people even knock your windows to ensure like, you don't want to buy chicken on the highway. There's chicken, there's tomatoes, and the only thing that is left that I haven't seen is gas cylinder and a cooker for me to just start cooking. However, put it this way, where there is no demand, supply is likely to be limited. I am directing this information to our listeners. Those who feel that they're either too big to go and park their vehicle somewhere, walk to the market and do their shopping proper. Some people do their complete shopping on the road. Yeah. And that is why I always make the comment, like, are we really loving Nigerians to ourselves? Because every action you take onto the road, as long as it is impeding on somebody else's rights, you can't love that person because you're only thinking about yourself. Every time you choose, we can all decide that from henceforth, I will not patronize anyone on the highway. And if we all try and do that, after a while, those people that have their shops in the market, but they are bringing their wares to us on the road because they feel like we are big boys and we cannot step out of our cars, then they will go back into the market because nobody is buying on the road. It's an issue of discipline.
What then can be done to ensure that users, be they motorists or pedestrians, do not abuse the infrastructure? It's very key.
I will have to say serious enforcement, and we use people as scapegoats. If you arrest a few motorists and display it on the TV and show them, I'll tell you what I've done, in fact, to get people. There was a time when people were abusing the BRT corridor. And then I just stopped the ones I can stop. And then I say to them, listen, even me too, I'm an oga in my own right. I'm not going to collect any money, and I'm not going to fine you for anything. You know what you're going to do? Step out of your car after you've parked properly, go and arrest 6 more offenders like you. A woman started crying because it is difficult to go and arrest someone for the same thing that you have done. Maybe we need to re-strategize because chasing these people on the road, it's not going to work. And you cannot barricade the public highway either because people need access. So we need to use people as scapegoats, do some arrests, and let everybody know this is what would happen to you.
There's one important factor we have to also consider, that's road signs, because we also have people making illegal U-turns, we have people crossing the culverts and all that, and it's really not good for the road. So do you think we have enough signs?
Well, if you're talking about the Mile-12 to Ikorodu town corridor, Yes, the signs are absolutely adequate. Up to date, the experience obviously has been that the signs were not there, number one. Number two, the road has not completely been opened in terms of like the proper U-turn areas. That's because to protect the BRT lane itself. That's why you have such blockages. But right now, we're coming to the completion of the road itself. We're coming very close to the BRT operation starting. And I can guarantee and tell you that a lot of signs have gone on the road.
Okay.
Now, there's one thing about putting the signs there, and there's another thing about some section of the motorists obeying the signs.
Yeah.
So I say to people right now that we all know what the right thing or the wrong thing is. The signs are there, we need to obey it. Another appeal I would like to make is we should be watching out for this infrastructure design, because apparently people go there in the night and they steal the signs. So it's very important. So it's not a case of accusing the government that the government have not put signs there. These signs are there.
Well, we've been speaking with Mr. Olajide Oduyoye, Deputy Director, Transport Safety, LAMATA. We'll be right back.
Lagos, my home. With LAMATA, Lagos is changing for the best.
Good to have you back on the show today. We've been discussing how to clear the Mile-12 to Ikorodu BRT corridor of impediments, and we have Mr. Olajide Oduyoye, Deputy Director, Transport Safety, LAMATA. We have another set of beautiful people with us in the studio. Another way we get our feedback, and it's very important. We have our studio audience with us. You are welcome to the show today. Okay, so let's get the ball rolling. Do we have questions, comments, or observations?
My question is, these traders, where would they go?
Well, can I be brutally honest? There are markets in Mile-12. There are markets at the Ikorodu town. There are markets that have been created. And we talk about traders. Traders need to be in the markets. It's not a case of where would they go. You can't deal with the situation that shouldn't be there in the first place. Trading should be done in the right place. And the right place is inside the market.
Is there any provision for physically challenged people to board BRT?
The answer is a categorical yes, especially for the new system from Mile-12 to Ikorodu, where the buses are now, in fact, the bus shelters have access for wheelchair users, all right? And so they can board the bus and they can do all that easily. The other thing that the government has done very, very well as well is where you even have the crossing, even the overhead crossing facility. That's why you have a flatter platform apart from the stairs, and that is wheelchair access. What I want to say is, like, there was a time, sometimes not too long ago, someone took a picture and Keke Napep had climbed it. If you know anybody that is driving Keke Napep, tell them that that area is for wheelchair users and people who are vulnerable. It's not for Keke Napep, so their provision is already there.
You said you specified on using the pedestrian bridges, right? But not all the bus stops are close to the pedestrian bridge. So what do we do?
Thank you for that question. I can understand the concern that the pedestrian bridges are few and far in between. But the pedestrian bridges itself have been constructed at the bus stops along that corridor. It doesn't necessarily mean that people may not want to cross at other sections of the corridor itself. Some of those areas where the communities have been built up, there are schools and everything, we understand there will be a need for pedestrians to want to cross the road, not necessarily to board the bus. At those locations that we identified, at-grade crossing will be provided. On the at-grade crossing will be a zebra crossing, but that particular area would also be on a speed table. The reason why there will be a speed table is to forcefully slow down vehicles on approach. Because if there's a hump in front of you, a motorist would have to slow down on approach because you can't just fly over it. Okay. That opportunity is there for the pedestrians to feel a bit safer and cross the road, only at the at-grade crossing. We are not, and I am not, advocating that people should be crossing away from either of these two facilities because it is too dangerous. You are not in control of the motorist. If you choose to cross anywhere away from the provided at-grade crossing on a speed table or the pedestrian bridge that has been created along the corridor, then you are endangering yourself. The thing will go make you stay alive. The thing will go make your family be happy. Now the thing will concern me. So when I tell you, say, make you not cross on the Ikorodu road where we never provide crossing, now big warning, now brotherly loving, me I dey take do am. Make it a think and well. Don't think, say, you be Usain Bolt, where you just fit, if you run. Therefore, the speed past you.
Well, to you, our lovely audience, we want to thank you for being part of the show here today. What parting thoughts will you want to leave us with for us to chew on?
It's pretty simple for me. I want our audience, really, to understand that there are human beings that form the government. And if we love something and we want the same set of government to do more and do better, we need to begin to respect and appreciate the little that they have done. And what we expect on this particular corridor, or I expect from our people, is that we should stop abusing what the government has done. We should stop abusing each other. I.e., don't park your vehicle where I need to walk. Try not to buy anything on the road. Try not to repair your vehicle on the road. Try and think about other road users in terms of their safety, and now you use the road. And I can guarantee that the human beings that form the government, they can see these things, they will smile, they will be happy, and they'll be thinking, if my people can do this, oh boy, I feel inspired. Make I go do another one somewhere. And as we go on, we will not be confined to just Ikorodu corridor. We'll be going to all areas of Lagos State, where the development will come very fast, where BRT corridor will come very fast. And all our families that are spread all over the state, we will all stand to enjoy what exactly we deserve to enjoy. And that is what I want to say to our people.
Wow, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you. Okay, so the show continues in a moment. Stay with us.
Lagos, my home. With LAMATA, Lagos is changing for the best.
Thanks for your phone calls, SMS, emails, Facebook messages, and BlackBerry instant messages. This is the one we received from you this week. Abi Olatunji, you posted saying, can't we go back to park and ride, or odd or even number, or maybe high tariffs for driving into the island? Thanks, Abi. At the policy level, government is working to solve the challenges with mobility of the people and promoting public transportation to reduce the traffic congestion we normally face in Lagos. We're grateful for your time and thoughts. Keep sending your questions, comments, and remarks to any of the following. Thank you for joining us on the show today, and here is a lesson to take from this episode.
As LAMATA crosses the T's and dots the I's in readiness for the launch of operations of the Bus Rapid Transit BRT from Mile-12 to Ikorodu, our success is inevitable because we diligently prepare.
And preparation is a necessary condition for success. And that is why Abraham Lincoln said, give me 6 hours to cut a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe.
Keep this in mind as you're reaching out for your goals. I am Kate Harmony.
And I am Obafemi Craig.
LAMATA.
Keeping
Lagos, my home. With LAMATA, Lagos is changing for the best. BRT